boys, today's tomorrow, and we're talking about D'Angelo Wallace, a person that we did defend a few months ago actually, whenever everyone was going after him over the whole Starbucks situation because he had a Starbucks cup in the background. The man about damn near nuked all of Palestine with that one Starbucks cup. The man funded a whole militia against them. Also, there's nothing wrong with being gay. You know, I love choking on a hot dog here and there whenever I forget to bite it every now and again. But this is how you dress whenever you choose to be gay. This man was not born this way.
All right, Mr. Griffin. At this time, we're going to inject you with what we believe we've isolated as the gay gene.
You know, as soon as he stops recording, he's going straight to the hub, looking at some Riley Reid. So whenever we talked about that, we defended D'Angelo Wallace, even though D'Angelo just bent the knee so hard. I'm surprised it isn't inverted, and this man has like raptor legs at this point. Because D'Angelo Wallace bent the knee to the mob, saying that you shouldn't buy a product in general. If you buy anything, it could be tied to Israel through like a bank transfer, maybe a part within the whole entire mechanism could have came from someone that did some banking in Israel at one point, and that could have funded a whole genocide in its own. Whenever you brought out a Starbucks cup. Right, so we defended D'Angelo Wallace because it's a stupid thing to be quote-unquote canceled over or called out for by your audience. It's stupid. So we did the right thing of defending him in that situation. But after a while, D'Angelo Wallace, after he somehow triumphantly, somehow didn't get canceled for a Starbucks cup in the background, he went on with his holier-than-thou crusade against any and everyone that he doesn't particularly have the same viewpoint as.
If I had to sum up today's entire video in a single word, it would be consequences. Few things give me more secondhand embarrassment than watching somebody forget that actions have consequences, especially when that somebody is a big name celebrity, but unfortunately, that's exactly what's going on with Tyler, the Creator.
Man, I'm just saying, the further and further we get into this video, the more and more you guys are going to relate to me saying, we need to remove the bass and the compressor off of this man's microphone. I wanted to hear what he actually sounds like. It is not like this. It's probably like this. Because if you guys don't know, Tyler, the Creator, one of the greatest artists of our generation, came out with a brand new album, and it's doing numbers, all right? This is one of the hottest albums out there right now, right? Tyler, the Creator, every time he drops, he just drops heat, all right? This man is just dropping actual classics after classics. So Tyler, the Creator, dropped another classic. And obviously, Taylor Swift fans, anytime their little, I don't even know if you can call her a queen, their little monarch, their dictator of their lives. That's what Taylor Swift is at this point to these people. The dictator of their lives. Anytime she is dethroned by anyone that makes actual music and not just dribble that, appeals to the masses of little teen girls that will just eat anything up. Anytime anyone drops actual heat and they have nothing else to say, Taylor Swift fans get on Twitter, they get on Reddit, they get on, Instagram, MySpace. They resurrect MySpace for it. Tumblr. Don't let them get on Tumblr. It's over at that point. And they start talking shit about the Creator, and they try their best to dig up the Creator's past and use it as ammo to why no one should like the Creator now.
Seems to have created the very problem that he's now complaining about on stage, and I think both he and many of his fans are handling this situation terribly. Tyler, the Creator, slams racist Swifties for being mad at him for dethroning her on the music charts. That's a headline you may have seen floating around recently, but I decided to look into the story myself and see what people were saying and what they were mad about, and it's really not that simple. But first, welcome, my name is D'Angelo, and I am your professor of
That's gay. Cut that out.
supercala...
Thank you.
I don't know why the little Swifties continue to do these tactics of digging up something from someone's past whenever they drop a great album that dethrones Taylor Swift anytime they drop. Instead of them realizing this tactic never works, and if anything, is good PR for the people to show where their music was at and where their music is at now, instead of them realizing that, they continue on this crusade, and they did this to Tyler, the Creator, after he dropped his newest album that dethroned Taylor Swift's, toilet water. I don't know what you call it. This woman can literally flush the toilet, and they will call that a classic album. These women are delusional that listen to Taylor Swift. I have heard music from her, and I will say, it is generic enough to where I could use it as background music if someone was, torturing me. I go all right, it could get worse. It's not the best. It could get worse. But yeah, so D'Angelo Wallace decided to do the dumbest thing ever and, wondered why Tyler the Creator would say this. I'm about to show you guys a clip in a second. After Taylor Swift's fans started calling him racist names and digging up his past after he did the unthinkable of making actual music that resonates with, actual human beings. Instead of just dribbling into a mic about how her boyfriend cheated on her.
I got Swifties all mad at me with their racist ass. Bringing up old lyrics. Bitch, go listen to Tron Cat. I don't give a fuck, the fuck, bitch. They gonna bring out the old me.
And that last sentence, they gonna bring out the old me, is what started this whole entire war with the Swifties, and D'Angelo Wallace was the general. Because D'Angelo Wallace decided to make a 20-minute video on Tyler the Creator's old lyrics back whenever he literally was paving the way for internet musicians. Literally before Tyler the Creator and Soulja Boy, alright, let's not act like Soulja Boy also didn't pave this way. Before Tyler the Creator and Soulja Boy, if you wanted to get known in the music industry, you basically had to get lucky. You had to start rolling dice at that point, alright? You had better chances of winning the Mega Million than becoming an actual musician at that point. But at that time, Tyler the Creator was more edgy because A, he was younger, B, he was dealing with a lot of just stuff in his life. Like his mom was in a woman's shelter and stuff. Like this man was dealing with a lot of things in his life at that point. So of course, a lot of his music back then was really angry, really violent. It was basically like Slim Shady whenever he was first coming up.
They're gonna bring out the old me, he says. Go listen to Tron Cat, he doesn't care. So at his behest, I decided to check out the old him by listening to Tron Cat, and whoa, buddy.
So if you guys haven't heard of Tron Cat, it's one of Tyler the Creator's biggest songs from one of his first ever albums on Goblin. Back whenever, I'm pretty sure he was either 19 or 20 whenever he made this whole album, which again, boys, go listen to Goblin. Another great body of work. Whenever this man was 20, he was making things that D'Angelo Wallace could dream of making of, alright? This man was making actual art. This was a great album, by the way. But yes, so D'Angelo Wallace is about to bring up some lyrics from Tron Cat on, again, one of Tyler the Creator's best albums ever. Now, the thing about Goblin is, this is supposed to be a concept album where Tyler the Creator comes up with a concept of what he wants the whole album to be themed around, and then he makes songs around that. Almost like if you walk into like watching a movie and you see something horrible in the movie, you would probably think, oh, the person that created the movie didn't actually do the horrible thing in real life. Like, I don't know, Tom Cruise blowing up a building or something. He didn't actually do that in real life, a real life terrorism act. He reenacted it in the movie because he thought it would be cool. It'll create suspense, right? It actually evokes emotion. So in this concept album of Goblin, Tyler the Creator is basically going crazy, right? He's going crazy. He's imagining himself murdering all of his friends and stuff. But at the end of the day, actually, it all was fake, right? Inside of this, even inside of the songs, he was like, oh, at the end, it's like, oh, it was all just in your head. Right, he even says within his own songs that, oh yeah, you shouldn't do any of this. Literally within his own songs, back whenever he was 19, full frontal cortex hasn't even developed yet. He was already telling people, hey man, you probably shouldn't be doing this. It's kind of bad. Hey man, just let you know, if you listen to this song, don't do this. And yet, for some reason, people like D'Angelo Wallace, the little creature it is, just scurrying across the internet, is cherry picking the information. Well, you see, you shouldn't be writing lyrics like X, Y, and Z. We're gonna get into it in a second. Because I don't like it. 15 years later, I don't like it. Even though it was a world-renowned classic album that people still listen to this day, I don't like it. 15 years after its creation. This man is trying to judge the art of a 19-year-old back whenever the whole entire landscape of music was completely different. Like, this was whenever Rick Ross was saying some wild things. If you guys haven't heard with Rick Ross, you guys need to go listen to that. That is what really needs to get someone canceled. Even back then, people were calling Rick Ross out for the lyrics that he said in that song. But yeah, again, just whenever D'Angelo Wallace reads out the lyrics, because, he will. Remember, this was a 19-year-old coming up with a concept album of a character going insane, thinking that he's murdering all of his friends. Just remember that. by the way, because if you think this is bad, you probably should never watch a movie ever again. Just in general, you shouldn't watch entertainment ever again unless it's reality TV. Even that is fake at 99% of the time. So if you find Tyler the Creator's concept album of, him coming up with this character that goes insane and murders people in his literal brain, within the songs, he's murdering people in his head. It's not even in the song's like actual universe, I guess. It's not even canon in the whole album's universe that he murdered anyone or did any of the actions. Just remember that even within the album, Tyler the Creator was already saying, this is bad, you shouldn't do that, do not do this.
This is the tweet that seems to have gone the most viral, as Swiftie posted with no real caption, just a bunch of question marks, garnering over 250,000 likes, lyrics to Tron Cat from Tyler the Creator. And so, I feel like reading this out loud is just ridiculous. But if I'm uncomfortable, as a man who's not even referenced in the scenario, I can really only imagine how other readers felt about rape a pregnant bee and tell my friends I had a threesome. So Tron Cat is stemming from his 2011 album Goblin, and as Swifties discovered, it's just kind of full of stuff like that, actually. Here he is bragging about sex with quote-unquote no permission, smacking, kidnapping, attacking with axes, choking. Like, this is just absurdly over the top. But I think what really set people over the edge was a lyric about Taylor Swift, actually. Tyler swiftly slips his D inside of Taylor Swift's... Again, I'm sorry, I just don't want to read this.
Goblin. It's about suicide, abandonment issues, and dealing with internal rage. The album takes place over 15 songs and it has a concept of Tyler talking to a fictional therapist, with Goblin being their second session. His first album, Backfired, was their first session, and upcoming album Wolf being their third and final one. Yes, that is the whole reason why for everything in the albums. They're an actual concept albums that actually flow together and actually were within a series and actually had a narrative. Unlike anything this man, D'Angelo Wallace, is trying to talk about, this concept album has real reason why it should exist and real reason why it did exist and did really well and propelled this man to the fame and stardom he's at now. These 3 albums literally are 3 of the greatest albums of just hip-hop in general. These are 3 of the greatest albums out of our generation because they actually had great concepts. They were talking about real life things that people go through every day. And Tyler the Creator is showing that, just because you have these things inside of you and just because you have these internal thoughts, they aren't who you really are. But yet, for some reason, whenever your favorite artist, Taylor Swift, gets dethroned on a little bit of a platform and Tyler the Creator makes a little statement, you have to start crying, pissing, and shitting your pants talking about how he doesn't make real music and I don't like the lyrics because they actually evoke emotions out of me that aren't rainbows and sunshines and shitting bricks. Like, motherfucker, he comes up with a great album, actually executes it. A lot of people just keep it in their heads for the most part and wonders, should I, should I not, I don't know. He actually comes out with the album. It is widely successful, propels him into stardom. Everyone enjoys the album. Obviously, the people that don't enjoy the album are the people that are mad that he took a number place from Taylor Swift. He took a number place from Taylor Swift. Oh my God, he took a number from Taylor Swift. And now they all are out here shitting their pants because Tyler the Creator is just better than it. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say here. The smugness of a man that bent the knee to his audience that were going after him over a Starbucks cup. I'm just sitting here like, how can you be so smug if a Starbucks cup is the thing that crumbles you, right? This man could come up with the greatest reasoning on earth for why he should sip on Starbucks, but he could never present it to his audience because he knows they'll be like, but we don't like Starbucks. We don't like Starbucks. D'Angelo, say we don't like Starbucks. And D'Angelo's like, we don't like Starbucks. All right. As he sips his Starbucks coffee off a camera. Like, you think this person is going to stop sipping on Starbucks? Like, no. D'Angelo Wallace is what you call a shill, right? He'll do whatever it takes to keep his money and his fame, all right? The man doesn't actually believe in 90% of the things that he actually speaks about. I don't even think he cares about the lyrics on Tron Cat because he probably listened to it back in the day. This man probably was a Tyler the Creator fan back in the day, but now he's like, oh my God, no. I already know what my core audience does love themselves to Taylor Swift, and they're asking me about this. Man, No, my true feelings are, it doesn't really matter. And at the day, it is just truly art, and we all can have our own opinions on art, but we all should be allowed to express ourselves. But the Swifties are telling me he's a piece of shit and he should never make music again because of these lyrics in a literal concept album where it was one of the greatest albums of all time. It was the greatest album of all time, but the Swifties keep telling me I can't like it. Like, that's literally him right now. He's wrestling with the fact that actually it's a damn good song if you listen to it. But also he's like, oh man, but I gotta pander to my audience. Which is exactly what he's doing right now. He's pandering, right? I don't believe that D'Angelo Wallace actually believes that the lyrics in this song are really that bad to where Tyler the Creator should be quote unquote canceled over it, because he made an actual good song dealing with struggles he was dealing with at the time. But D'Angelo does continue to drool out of his mouth like a slow little he is, so let's continue listening.
Read this. So, as always, when any artist gets called out for something, their fans like clockwork show up with the excuses. And so the working story that I was seeing from multiple Tyler fans throughout this discourse, besides your typical excuses of it was 2011, he was only 20 when he released this. But no, the biggest thing they cite is that this is fictional. Tyler hasn't done any of these things, and he acknowledged even on the album that this was all part of a story. Here we have lyrics from a track on Goblins in which he says, hey, don't do anything that I say in this song, okay? It's fiction. If anything happens, don't blame me. They also cite the fact that Goblin is supposed to be shocking. After all, it's in the genre of horrorcore. Entertainment Weekly describes it as interwoven dialogue between Dr. TC and Tyler as he gradually spirals into insanity and murders all of his friends, only to learn that this all occurs within the twisted confines of his imagination. So if I could boil this narrative down into 3 words, it's not real, is where the fans are coming from. However, personally, I have some problems with that. This whole satire and being edgy, wait, no, I'm not, it's just a joke, or is it? Super played out, and I really thought we had realized at this point that this was tired. Like, sure, in 2011 when Tyler was doing this, you could get away with saying things were just a persona or whatever, but honestly, this is just extremely cliche behavior that people use as an excuse to say the craziest stuff.
This motherfucker is so stupid to where he literally reads out the whole concept of the album, and he's like, the album is supposed to be shocking because it's within a genre that is darker. On top of that, this is supposed to be a fictional album of a character going insane and just in their imagination doing some of the worst things ever. And Tyler the Creator within the songs are saying, do not do X, Y, and Z. And yet in his brain, he's like, Tyler the Creator is just trying to say it's satire. No, he literally just gave you the whole concept of the album. The whole concept of the album is we all have these inner dark thoughts and you shouldn't act on them. Just because you have these inner dark thoughts doesn't mean you're a bad person. Like, and he's just trying to sit here trying to say, oh yeah, back in 2011 Tyler the Creator could get away with this. It's like, so what do you make the video for? What are you making the video for? That's the question. What are you making the video for? If you're like, well, back in the day being this edgy, you know, that was all right. So why do you care now? If you knew back in the day these lyrics weren't bad, why are you making a big deal out of it now? You see the dribble. This man is literally just drooling out of the side of his mouth. He's like, have I 8 minutes yet? Nah, damn it. I gotta keep going. He's like, oh man, only hit 4 minutes and 33 seconds. I had to keep drooling out of the side of my mouth for the next 4 minutes so I can hit the 8-minute mark and get in them mid-roll ads. He's just drooling out of the side of his mouth now. He's like, oh yeah, you guys really shouldn't care at all about what I'm saying right now because literally I just explained to you guys the whole concept of the album, the reason why the album exists, the genre the album was in, why it has such dark themes. But I think you guys should be mad at Tyler the Creator before making this album, even though I agree, back in the day, you probably could have, and he did, make this album and get away with it because, you know, back in the day it was different and, you know, different time. But this next part of the video is where D'Angelo Wallace tries to make it seem like he is normal, even though he dresses up like a child with an actual job back in 1884. This motherfucker goddamn chimney sweep in his spare time. But yeah, D'Angelo Wallace goes on to delude himself to think that A, he's normal, and B, his audience are also normal. I'm just letting you know, D'Angelo Wallace, if you ever do see this video, you and your audience are not normal, alright? You guys aren't normal people. A lot of the things you guys do think and do say are only on the internet because, you know, as soon as you go out into the real world and you tell your friend, hey, you shouldn't drink Starbucks. Oh, why? What happened? Is it poison? No, because their money actually goes to fund a war. Oh, are they directly funding a war? Not really. I mean, like, They have offices in like Israel, so I mean like, oh, so you're just a dumbass. No, you shouldn't be drinking Starbucks, and that's their whole entire fight. Like, my God, you're not normal. Half the things this motherfucker would say, he would never say in real life, because he'll realize that is stupid. Why would I even say that?
They often seem to take pride in the fact that normies can't tell whether they're being serious or not. I mean, here's Tyler talking about his song Sarah in 2009, a song about killing some girl and eating her body. Before I kill her, I have her tied up. Fantastic. Anyway, a lot of people are wondering if this song is about my true feelings or thoughts, or about a real girl, or what. If you're very close to me, you know. If not, dig deep through your imagination to find out. Am I a rapist, guys? I don't know. That's just not cute, bro. It was not cute in 2011, 2009, and it's definitely not something we should be bringing up in 2024 to make people feel dumb for feeling offended at these lyrics.
No, you are dumb. You are dumb. Because at the end of the day, the people that did go listen to the album either A, liked the music, or B, gave this man free streams. The man was marketing his music. He was literally marketing his music. The man was like, hey, do I have these true thoughts? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. You listen to the album and you realize, no, these aren't his true thoughts. These are just song lyrics. The man is literally marketing his literal song. The whole thing is about killing, murdering, and raping. And then he's like, well, back on Twitter, whenever the album first came out, he talked about this stuff and he thought it was cute. It wasn't supposed to be cute. I don't know about you, I never thought murdering someone was cute. Like, what is D'Angelo Wallace's whole, like, theory here? Like, if he listens to a Kendrick Lamar album, he's gonna be like, oh my God, he said the N-word with the E-R, you guys. I don't think Kendrick Lamar is for the black people, because he said the N-word with the E-R at the end. He's like, no, you see, Kendrick was saying something along the lines of what a racist. No, you should never say that word. Like, this man is acting like depicting something in a imaginary world is the equivalent of depicting something in real life that you're actually doing. These are two completely different things. If Tyler the Creator was an actual R-wordist, then we can all be like, all right, this guy's disgusting. If he's literally portraying a character, the album portraying a character, then yes, it is acceptable. It is a concept. It is literal characters. This man is acting like, I don't know, the Power Rangers are real. This man probably hasn't gotten over the fact that we don't have drawn lines around us and cartoons aren't real. This man probably has an imaginary friend to this day. It is the dumbest thing ever whenever people are acting like fiction and reality are within the same universe. If someone draws someone getting murdered, that is completely different from someone actually murdering. These are two completely different things. I mean, wildly different. We're not gonna act like, right, we're not adults and we don't have object permanence and we don't realize one thing is fake and one thing is real. We're not gonna act like that, right? Once you pass 18, you lose the right to be like, oh, well, you guys see, I'm brain dead. I can't understand that some things just aren't real and that some people just come up with things for entertainment. That is literally the whole point of the album.
Insane behavior. It was crazy then, it's crazy now. Okay, what in the world? This is an appropriate response. The very top reply being, why are you bringing this up as if he's trying to hide any of his past lyrics? Tyler was a literal edgy and problematic teenager and has shown insane character development and maturity in all of his albums in the last decade. Like, girl, shut up. I'll talk about the whole shut up and move on narrative in a bit. But my other really big problem with this whole it's not real defense is, and pardon me for stating the obvious, Taylor Swift is real. Hot take, Taylor is actually a real person, even if Goblin, the album, is not. Ergo, referring to her private parts and talking about slipping inside of them in the song is beyond unhinged. I'm not gonna lie to you, if you feel the urge to defend it, you're probably just better off zipping it. Because anybody who is trying to make excuses for this sounds crazy to anybody else. I'm telling you that as somebody who has listened to Tyler's music before.
Nope, it is 100% very much within the range of reality. It is 100% very much within the range of defense, because at the end of the day, this was a concept album of someone going insane, murdering, raping, and torturing people. And yet we're sitting here acting like, no one ever has these thoughts, and anyone that does have these thoughts is the insane person. No, boys, we have a literal word for these thoughts of violence whenever you're not a violent person or whenever you don't want to be violent. It is called Intrusive thoughts. We literally have a word for this. We have a word for the phenomenon of what these 3 albums, including Goblin, Bastard, Goblin, and Wolf, these are literally just intrusive thoughts. We have a whole word for what these albums are. We have already defined what it is. Everyone has these intrusive thoughts. And yet, whenever someone makes an album about intrusive thoughts, this man goes on to say, no, you can't make actual art, all right? You gotta make stuff that makes me feel great, all right? You can't make something that actually invokes emotions other than happy rainbow sunshine. I'm just saying, if you're gonna lie so hard through your teeth to say you've never had an intrusive thoughts, I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, you really have to be clinically insane for me to believe that you've never had an intrusive thoughts. Everyone has had one, at least one within the past day. I'm like, let's all be honest here. Intrusive thoughts are things you cannot control. They are just wild imaginations within your head. You cannot control them. And yet this man is sitting here like, he made a whole album about something that every human has to go through and deal with throughout their whole life that no one really talks about because, yes, intrusive thoughts are really weird because that's exactly what they are. Random thoughts. They're fleeting thoughts that don't define who you are. This man is 26 years old, older than me. And yet for some reason he is acting like he has never in his life, right? Like he's literally sitting here acting like he doesn't understand the whole reasoning behind the album. He's just saying, you can't say that because I said you couldn't say that. It's like, that's dumb. What do you mean I can't say that because you said I couldn't? You can't say that because I said you couldn't say that. It's like, what? I'm coming up with actual art here. This is good shit. You said something I don't like. Like he's acting like a literal teenage girl that's having a little hissy fit. He's like, someone out there in the world that got R-worded at one point. You can't say that word ever again. That's the woman's word now. It's like, what? That makes no sense. That is how D'Angelo Wallace is treating the nuance of this very complex album. Of you can't say the word because something happened to someone that this word actually is attached to. So you can't ever say the word again. You can't say murder either. Like, that's exactly what this man is acting like, a literal teenage girl. But boys, let me save you guys from the rest of this dumbassery. The radiation from this video is enough to just give you a good dose of cancer, all right? This is enough to murder you within the next month or two. So anyone that got exposed to this video, I'm sorry, all right? It's my fault, boys. It's on me. I didn't mean to expose you to this much radiation. I didn't know this video would be this toxic for human consumption. Just like how Johnny Somali is very toxic towards the Korean people, and they are not happy with him. I'm like, this man did an apology under duress, all right? This man did not do the apology of his own free will. Click this video right here to find out what was going to happen to him if he did not apologize. But other than that, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.